Hello, everybody. This is the Global Star Party Live edition for the U.S. and Canada. We are going to try to show you guys some astronomy today. We got a few people on that can share some views. I'm Daniel Herron. I am near Atlanta, Georgia, and it is completely cloudy right now. So I wasn't able to share any live views, but I can share some pictures and stuff like that that I've taken when it has been better weather. And with me on the live meeting here is Paul Stewart, who is the upside down astronomer. He's in New Zealand, and I think he's going to be showing us some live views of the sun a little later. And I didn't catch who else was on it. Elliot, you want to introduce yourself? I don't know that we've actually formally met before.
Yeah, I was actually on a couple of weeks ago. I'm from Western New York, and it's actually night here, so I'm going to be doing some night imaging out here.
Okay, great. Well, thanks for joining us. So it'll just be us three today. So Paul, I'll switch over to you. Why don't you show us what you're looking at there in your observatory, and tell everybody a little bit about your observatory.
Well, we're currently looking at active region 2567 on the sun. It was quite an interesting sunspot group, but all I had was clouds, so this is the first day I've seen it, and it's just rotating out of view, of course. But, as it's been parting, it's actually launched a couple of M flares. I was hopefully it'll do it on cue and do something live for the show. Could get lucky. Now I'll just switch. This is currently what's imaging the sun, although you can't quite see. I'm pointing to is the actual solar scope down here. The bottom, the middle is 132 refractor, and on top there's a little calcium K1 which you can't quite see either.
Cool. That's some nice equipment you got there. All right, Paul, I had my audio skip out on me. Can you guys still hear me?
Yep, you're loud and clear.
Okay, good.
Yeah, we got it.
All right, thanks. All right, Elliot, you want to switch over to you and tell us what you're up to?
Well, right now I'm just getting everything all set up for guiding, so it's going to just be about another minute or so.
All right, no problem. So just let me know whenever you're ready.
Okay.
All right, so while we are waiting on that, let me share some of the group photos that people have posted. So let me know when you guys can see this. Can you guys see the Google page?
No, just see a Windows page.
Yep, now I can. Oh, never mind.
How about that?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. All right, so let me get to the Global Star Party live here and see what some people have posted. Here's a really good image Kevin Franklin did of Saturn, posted on our page. I think he took this a couple weeks ago, but that is a really nice image of Saturn. And Saturn and Mars is kind of getting a little bit not at optimal position anymore. It's kind of starting to move away from us, or actually we moving away from it. So it's getting smaller and dimmer in our sky, night by night, and starting to get a little bit into the kind of out of the range for most of the sharp detail we were getting a couple months ago when it was at its closest pass. But Saturn is still pretty good. So if anybody wants to view Saturn and has a decent telescope, you can. It's in the southern part of the sky, just after sunset. You can look up star charts and find it. It's very beautiful to look through with a let me drag this over here with a scope. So just looking at some of our pictures on the Flickr page that we've gotten. I think here's that same sunspot group you were talking about, right, Paul?
Yep, that's it. Just rotating out of view.
Yeah, and the sun's had been pretty quiet the last couple of weeks, but it's really starting to get a little bit more active, which is good for some of the people who like looking at sunspots. And the sunspots appear black through our filters because they're relatively, as far as the sun goes, cold or cooler spots on the surface. So when using our filters, it makes them look like they're black spots. But it kind of does give you a little bit of an idea that the sun does, the sun is fluid. It does change, and it does go through cycles where the sunspots are really pretty heavy, 20 or 30 at a time, sometimes on the surface. Then sometimes there's not much at all on the surface. Steve Brown posted this on our Flickr page. That's a really cool halo around the sun that you can usually see if the conditions are right, and you got like kind of real thin icy clouds high in the atmosphere. The little ice particles in the clouds will create this rainbow-like halo around the sun. There they are again, those same sunspots. So you can see the rest of the sun is pretty quiet. Got a couple down here, making a couple spots, but then the big guys. Those are some pretty nice ones. That's a nice image. Well, here's a really cool shot of some lightning in the distance. It looks like you got Mars over here and Saturn and Scorpius, and a nice lightning storm. Another one. Wow, some Milky Way and some lightning. You guys are seeing that, right? No one said ooh or ah, so I didn't know if I was still sharing.
Ooh,
Yeah, I can see it.
And now this is a shot that Martin Campbell posted onto the page. See what he says about it. Let's scroll down here. Central region of the Milky Way. Doesn't say what kind of camera or equipment he took it with, but that is some amazing detail in there. Here's a nice one of the moon. Lots of good detail in the moon.
That's
It's a good
really
thing.
nice.
Yeah, it's a good thing about astronomy and looking at other people's photos is that there's so many different types of objects you can look at, and you never really know what you're going to get when you come through a group like ours and see what everyone's imaging. So you got some faint galaxies here, part of Andromeda. Some
Wow.
nice images. Oh, this one again. This one's looks like these little creative with the processing there, putting those spikes. Those three sunspots again. So you can see you have solar, you have lunar, the whole gambit here of photos that people are posting on our site, and even some wide field. And those that are looking to get into astronomy and astrophotography specifically, it's amazing what you can do with just a camera and a lens. People are always amazed at whenever we're out with the group and we take pictures with our cameras just of wide field star fields. They're like, oh, I didn't know a camera could pick up that. And it's pretty amazing. It's a good way to get started. Not only do you learn the way your camera works, and the camera usually has different ways of working at night as it does during the day. There's all kinds of different settings you normally have to play with. I always tell people to get your camera out of automatic mode, put it into manual mode, and really see what it can do and learn the ins and outs of it. Some nice clouds. Let's see, this is from Simon and Sarah Fisher. Where are they located? Yeah, United Kingdom. Yeah, I thought so. There's those sunspots again, a close-up view of them. All right, Paul, let's switch back over to you.
Yeah, we're looking at the sun in calcium K. Starting to dim down a bit, the clouds are starting to race in there. It's getting rather breezy, but still managing to cut through the cloud cover.
Yeah, see some clouds coming in and out.
Just see that sunspot on the limb there. And looks like we'll be going back to a blank disk again.
Yeah, it looks like it. Still pretty cool to look at, though. All right, Elliot, what are you showing us there?
I'm showing the latest image that I got within the last week or so. This is the Cocoon Nebula, which is IC 5146. And this was taken with an Orion G3 deep space camera. And this was taken from Western New York in the red zone of light pollution.
That is really nice.
And all this was, it was just 6-minute images. I took 12 of them, so it was about 72 minutes.
There's some nice detail there, and the stars look nice and round, so that's really good.
The best part is I like the nebulosity, the dark nebula around it. I didn't think I could pick it up from Western New York with the light pollution, but I was very surprised that I could.
Yeah, those are nice.
And right now I'm actually going to be getting the dumbbell nebula in just a couple minutes. I'm just trying to center it in the cameras right now. I'm almost done. I got about another like 45 seconds, and then I'll start imaging, and then I'll be able to just stack them live on Deep Sky Stacker Live.
Okay, yeah, just let us know whenever you want me to switch back to you.
Yep, not a problem.
Cool. All right, so here's an interesting shot that someone posted, that Joseph posted here on our Flickr group of a supernova that popped up in a far distant galaxy there, or right off that galaxy. So you can see he's got 3 shots of it, one inverted, and then a zoomed in shot. Whoops. A zoomed in shot of this area here. You can see the star that basically suddenly appeared. So in a previous shot, this star might not have even been visible, and it just popped up. Magnitude 16.79, so that's a pretty dim object. It's nice though. Some more lunar stuff. And this is an amazing shot of the Veil Nebula, or part of the Veil Nebula. All those little wisps.
That is gorgeous.
Yes, it is.
And that's a hard one to get too.
Yeah, you usually have to use, an O3 filter or different types of filters to pull in that different, to grab all the gases.
Yeah.
But this is a huge nebula, or remnant of a nebula that's in the constellation Cygnus. It is a pretty. I can't believe how many moons it is, but it's at least a couple of moons in diameter. But it's very, very faint and hard to detect. So he took that with a 60 DA with a 10-inch scope. Wow.
I'm going to try to pull up mine that I took about maybe 6 weeks ago of that same object. I'm just looking for it. There it is.
Here's one from our friend Chris Kennedy of Alberio. And this is a really nice contrasting pair of stars, double star system that's in the constellation Cygnus as well.
Wow.
It's really nice. More sunspots. Let me give you an idea while you're bringing up that thing, the veil.
Yeah.
Here's a shot that I took of, or a few shots that I took of the Milky Way a couple weeks ago. I think I showed this on the last Global Star Party. But just to give you an idea, I took a copy and I put it in. I put some labels in. So
Wow.
here's Cygnus, and you can't really zoom in very well on this shot, but the Veil Nebula is just about a little bit smaller than this circle right here. That's how big it is. So it's a couple of moon widths in diameter. It's just a kind of a loop, a very, very faint loop. You got some brighter parts right here and some brighter parts on this area over here.
Oh, that's
But yeah, so I took this shot and I went through and kind of drew in the constellations and picked out every little thing I could pick to see and labeled some of the more interesting ones. So here's the North American Nebula. I really wish I could zoom in on this. I don't have the actual image on this computer, I don't think. I don't think I do. Maybe I do. Maybe I should look at it. Let me switch over and let Paul talk about his shot.
Where did it go? Where did it go?
Yep, now we've got the other end side of the sun with a couple of filaments down through here. The little prominences on the end there. You can just see through the clouds. A couple of little prominences there. And this one here, since it's both a filament and a prominence, we call that a philoprom, which are basically the same thing. Anyway, filament is just a prominence on the disk.
That's really nice. That's a cool image. And that's still live, right? Yeah, I think I can see the clouds kind of moving in it.
Yep, clouds are here.
Yeah, I don't know that I have that image on my. All right, Elliot, looks like you might have that image up.
Yeah, I got this. It's in hydrogen alpha. This is the one that you were just talking about, NGC 6960. And this one was taken with the QHY9C. And this was taken on an 80 millimeter refractor.
Wow.
And the moon was out that night, so it distorted the image a little bit because the other one that I took, and actually I have that one pulled up too. I got that one here, so just give me 1 second and I'll pull that up. That is... Let me just pull that up here. There.
Oh, yeah.
And it is right here.
Yeah,
that's
so
the other side. That's the other veil.
Some people refer to that part as the monkey wrench.
Yes.
Because it kind of looks like a monkey wrench. Not so much at that resolution because you're seeing a lot more detail than you do normally through the telescope.
Right. Yeah, this one turned out really well.
Yeah, that is really nice.
And that's all in hydrogen alpha. And I think this one was a total of 2.5 hours.
Wow, that is nice. Beautiful pinpoint stars.
Yep. Thank you.
That's what we like to see because then we know we had a good tracking that night.
And the mount that I'm running on is a CG5, and I can get between 8 to 12 minutes of subs.
Yeah, so that's
see
just.
If I can pull up. I'm going to pull up I'm going to pull up the mosaic that I've been doing this summer too. So that's going to take me a few minutes to find it. But once I'm due, I'm going to pull that up for you guys because that one was 4 panels. Each panel took me about 2.5 hours of exposure time and stitching it together. It was the North American Nebula and the Pelican, and that was also in hydrogen alpha, and I'll get that up in about a minute and a half or so.
Okay. I did find that other picture, but it's going to take a minute to load. And the way I took that image was, let me share it again here. It was about 80 different shots taken with my 50mm lens. So again, this was just no telescope, just the camera pointed at the sky through a lens. So I had to take the image after I put it in a panoramic software that puts it together. I had to take the image and probably scale it down. I kept scaling it down by like 80% until I got it to a size where I could actually upload it to Flickr. And I had to do that a few times in order to get it postable to the group. So going through some more shots here, let me scroll down here. Here's a nice image of the very center of the Andromeda Galaxy. Which is really interesting because it's a galaxy that the Milky Way is eventually going to collide with in about 4 to 4.5 billion years. So we got some time. No reason to start panicking quite yet. But it is such a massive galaxy, a little bit larger than our galaxy, and it's heading towards us, or we're heading towards it. So it's right now it's currently about 2.3 million light years away. But what I always like to describe to people about this object is that it's a few 100,000 light years across. I think between 1 and 2 100,000 light years across. So when you're looking at it through a telescope, the thing that kind of sometimes blows people's mind about it is that you're looking at what it looked like 2.3 million years ago, but the front of it is a couple 100,000 light years closer to us than the back of it. So you're actually seeing the front of it, the part of it that's closer to us, is younger than the back of it by 1.5 thousand years. So you never really get an actual image of what it would ever have looked like at one point in its life. Because of the way the light travels to us. So it's always kind of weird to think about. You're seeing kind of like a photo montage, of a couple 100,000 years of what the galaxy looked like all at once. So it's kind of interesting to think about. All right, let me see if I can do this. This is one that I hadn't quite got done processing yet, but it's the only one I have on this computer. But forgive the purple stars. This is before I color corrected it. But as I zoom in on this area here you can see the North American Nebula popping up. I think you guys can see that, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So there's the North American Nebula. You can kind of see why it's called the North American Nebula. It's what it looks like. We're not very inventive with the names. If you scroll down here somewhere, the veil is right in this area. Here's part of the veil right here. You can see this little semicircle wispy thing. The other part would be right here. It's kind of hard to make out in this one, but if I zoom in, you can kind of see it there. This little wispy, this would be the monkey wrench part that Elliot was showing earlier, and then the other side of it is way over here, right near that star. So it's a circle, or a big bubble that's about that size. But I was really amazed that this camera picked it up, in this wide of an angle of a shot. So pretty neat. And here's, to give you an instance of what I was talking about earlier, this is our galaxy, the Milky Way, which we're currently in. And this is the Andromeda galaxy down here in the bottom left. So a few billion years, they'll meet, say hey to each other, and then create a bunch of chaos, which won't be very much fun. Would be cool to look at. All right, Elliot, looks like you're showing the North American Nebula.
Yes.
Again, you can see why it's called the North American Nebula. If you tilt your head a little bit, it looks like North America. Yeah, kind of see Florida right down there, and then down to Central America.
Yeah, this is uncompleted right now, or incomplete. I still have 3 more panels to go to make this one full box.
Yeah.
But the first panel was right in the Pelican. The second panel was just to the left of it. The third one was the middle, and then the fourth one was the bottom one. Each one was about 2.5 hours of exposure, and they ranged anywhere from 6-minute exposures to 12-minute exposures.
Hmm. Yeah, that is cool. And are you just doing that in black and white, or have you just not put all the colors together yet?
This is just subtracting the green and the blue channel and doing it solely just in red, which that actually enhances the nebulosity. So this is just the red channel on all 3 of them. I've done the color just on the Pelican, where I actually subtracted the stars on the hydrogen alpha and then added in the colored image of the stars on the background for the nebulosity. I haven't done the other 3 yet. I will be doing that later this summer before it starts to get bad again.
Okay, cool. Thanks for sharing.
Yep.
Yeah. Make sure you share the whole thing, because that'll be a beautiful image.
I will.
All right, Paul, looks like you got some got a zoomed in shot there. One of your images. Was this one you just took?
Yeah, there's just a quick process just what I took before the star party. The clouds have moved in, the sun showers have started, and the domes decided to close. So we've lost the sun for today.
Oh. That's nice though. Lots of detail. Yeah, the sun's always something cool to look at because you can actually see it move, see features on it change, prominences kind of change shape and stuff like that. It's really cool when you can look through the telescope and see something move within a really short period of time. Share an image here of Stephen Ron, one of my friends and one of the guys who usually joins us, took of the moon.
Wow.
A really nice image of the moon. Some nice color there. Yeah, that was from July 13th, so not too long ago. It's a nice image, though. Interesting thing about, taking a picture of the moon, everyone always asks me why I take so many pictures of the moon is, it's always a different, conditions are always different, lighting's always just slightly different. Depending upon where the terminator is, you can pick up certain features. What I really like to do is get like this crater here where, most of it is right on the terminator, so most of it is in the shadow of the rim of the crater, but then you get the other side of the crater lit up. It really gives a nice 3D effect and the contrast, and then you get these mountain ranges on the moon that just get more pronounced during certain phases. When the moon's full, it's hard to see some of this depth, and some of the 3D features of it is lost. So it's really nice to take some shots at different phases. Get the snowman crater feature there. Really nice images in our group. I don't want to show that. I'm kind of still Elliot's thunder there, but there's the Dumbbell Nebula that Elliot was talking about earlier.
Yep, I'm almost done getting this one.
And then speaking of Mars, here's a couple of my images that I posted to the group. I kind of posted this to Facebook and said this kind of looks like Mars left its sunglasses on while I was sunbathing.
That's
Kind of got
very
the
creative.
Yeah, it's kind of got the look there. And then this is about my best picture to date of Mars. It probably will be my best picture for a while because it's
Wow.
not going to get that level of detail again for a few years probably. And then one of Saturn. Where'd it go? Wrong way. There we go. So some really nice images in our group. I think I shared this one last time, the last Global Star Party. Sarah does some amazing stuff. You guys should really check out her website. Alrighty, so I think pretty much gone through all the group. Well, let's take a look at this. I think Paul showed us this last time, but it's worth sharing again.
Wow.
Because these ghost-like prominences that dance right on the limb, and there's the same number or the same type of prominences are kind of coming right at us too, but when they're right on the limb like this, and over the course of a few minutes, you could probably have noticed a change in shape in some of these larger ones. It's a really cool shot. Yeah, there's a why does it keep doing that? There's a zoomed in shot of that. Some really nice detail on that one. Hey Paul, you should measure it and give an idea of how high off the surface that is. Be interesting to know.
Rough guess, 100,000 to 150,000 kilometres.
That's quite a leap off the surface there. All right, so Paul, you said you were out of commission, right? Your dome shut.
Yep, we'll shut down here.
All right, I was going to somewhere down here. I have a picture of my scope when I'm imaging. I was going to show just to give anyone who's watching or listening later an idea of what kind of toys we're playing with. And I'm not seeing it. It doesn't take much though. I mean, I kind of eased my way into it, slowly upgrading, but used a digital SLR to start. Here we go. So this is my typical setup. So on the back, I have just a Canon DSLR, a 60D, connected directly to my scope. And then, I mean, most of all this other scopes on here wasn't doing anything. I wasn't auto guiding here. So the scope tracks. So I just align it, set it up, tell it what I want to look at, and then I usually take 1 to 2 minute images and just take multiple of them. So this whole setup and most of the images that I've shown you, at least that are zoomed in, that are my images, are taken with this, and camera, scope, and all. It's probably about $4,000 worth of equipment, which is pretty much on the typical side if you're looking at a starter scope. Now this type of scope has more high power zoom than other scopes, so it's really geared towards like planets, planetary. Really excels in imaging those. It doesn't have a wide angle, so some of the galaxies, it's not really meant to really get really good deep sky objects, but it can do pretty good at it. But some of the larger refractors is really what you want to look at getting if you really want to do a lot of galaxy work or the dumbbell like Elliot's about to show us here. But I mean, it doesn't mean that you can't do some of that stuff. I've done a pretty good job, I think, at some of that stuff, but it is maybe a little bit more of a challenge, just because of the makeup of the optics and everything for this type of scope. That's why usually when you talk to most amateur astronomers, they'll have more than one telescope for different purposes. I have another telescope that's not computerized, and it's basically set it up and you move it, point it, no computers, no gadgets, and you really can't take any pictures with it because it doesn't track. So it doesn't really work very well for photography, but it does work for visual, and it's what I did for years before I kind of got into the astrophotography bug. All right, Paul, looks like you want to show us the different prominence there.
This was from a few years ago. It just shows how fast the sun can move. There's only 20 minutes worth of images.
Wow. So you said that's 20 minutes. At the beginning there, it kind of looks like a wolf howling at the moon. Kind of going up. At least that's what I see. That's really cool. Yeah, it would have been a bad day for any spacecraft flying near that boy. Wow. All right, Elliot, what you got for us?
I got two things up at the same time here. The one on the left, I'm going to show you first. This is another mosaic that I'm still working on. It's going to take a while for this summer. This is just a 3-panel. This is going to be about an 8-panel mosaic. This is going to be the Stator complex, which is on the bottom, all the way up to the crescent. And I'm going to get in a gigantic box all the way through, and eventually, by the end of next year, I'm going to combine this one with the North America and Pelican to have one huge mosaic.
That'll be nice.
Yeah, it's going to take some time, but with astrophotography, we got all the time in the world.
And what software are you using to put the mosaic together?
I'm using Photoshop, and what it does is it uses the photo merge, and as long as you can get about 20% of each photo, it will combine it, and then it will blend it together, and it does a really good job. The other one that you can always use is ICE, ICE, which is Image Composite Editor.
Yeah, that's what I used for that Milky Way that I showed you earlier. Was ICE. Yeah, and it worked pretty well.
Really well too.
Yeah, I was pretty happy with that. I used if I'm doing an easy panoramic, I usually do like auto stitch. I've used that one before. I've also used Huggin. Sorry, middle of a yawn. I've also used Huggin, but Huggin, you can get kind of trapped in the minutia of the settings of the program. But what I found when I was doing the Milky Way shot was that it wouldn't render the image right. It was either making the Milky Way like this one big arc, or one wanted to make it like a donut. I couldn't get it to make a flat, no matter what I tried. And I plugged it into ICE, getting frustrated with those two programs. I plugged it into ICE, and on the first shot, it looked beautiful. So I was really happy with how it worked out, and just to let everyone who's listening know that all three of those software applications are free. ICE is free, AutoStitch is free, and Huggin is free as well. So the good thing about if you want to get into astrophotography is you don't necessarily have to spend any of your money on software. A lot of the
Right.
software that we use, or a lot of stuff that we do can be done fairly easily with free software. Now, if you want Photoshop or something, which I use, and Photoshop and Lightroom as well, to do some tweaking, post processing on the image, but you can use free programs like GIMP to do it as well if you want to learn the ways in and out of it. I don't know it all that well, but Photoshop is really the only software that I've actually bought for astrophotography.
I've bought Nebulosity 3, and that cost a little bit, but I use that to debayer for the pixels for my QHY. Because if you run it on a trial, it will actually run lines down your images, and it's kind of like a watermark, and then you can't use it unless if you buy the actual license. Once you get that, then you'll be able to start using it, and it works wonders. There we go. Now the tracking's finally starting to settle down. Finally. That's perfect.
Yeah, that looks pretty nice.
This is just 4-minute images with the Orion. This setup is super, super cheap. It's really cheap and has gotten some amazing images. I am absolutely surprised. What this is, it's an Orion G3 camera. You can get it used pretty much online, and it's a Sigma macro lens. It's a 5.6 f ratio. It's kind of like the lenses that you use for a Canon camera or a digital camera that you can just attach it. Well, I rigged it to actually put an M42 ring with threads and just threaded it right on there. And it's unbelievable, the pictures. And I'll post most of them on the Global Star Party for the actual ones so you guys can actually take a look. I've gotten probably 10, 11 really awesome pictures with the setup.
Yeah, it's looking pretty nice.
Yeah.
All right, we'll come back to you in a little bit here. Let's see.
Yep.
What are you showing us, Paul? Some more solar activity from our previous day?
This is from last year. Nice little flare. I think that was about half an hour's worth of images.
That is nice. The filaments and everything look really good through there. So the little dark lanes there, that's material kind of following the magnetic lines, right?
Yep, this is basically just a
Coming up off the
filament eruption on the surface with a flare going on.
That's really cool.
Of course, the camera would have been imaging the sun for many hours before this actually happened. Basically, I just leave it going all day on a nice sunny day and see what I catch. Pick out a nice spot that looks like it's a bit unstable and see what happens.
Hope for something.
Yes.
Pop up. So when you do that, are you storing? I mean, it's recording the images to like to your computer, right? Directly.
Yeah, just save them all to the hard drive, and when I run out of space, I see what's there.
You ever get rid of your stuff, or do you hoard it and never delete any of the videos?
All the raw videos will be deleted, but the stacked images will just stay and put on an archive.
Yeah, I sometimes don't want to delete anything. I just realized a while ago that I was just not thinking about stuff, especially when I was doing things with Jupiter, and I take 5-minute videos of Jupiter to use the frames to stack, and then I was reading an article where somebody was doing the same thing, and he went back through and looked at his video and saw that there was an impact or something interesting that happened on Jupiter, and I was like, you know what? I never really actually go back and watch the videos that I take. I stack them and use them to create images, but I never really watched the actual video, and then I started doing that. So, because you never know what you might catch that wouldn't have shown up in the final image. So but then I got to the point to where I started not wanting to delete anything either, because you never know when you might want to come back and reuse it. Here's an interesting shot I wanted to share with everybody from our Google the green room group for the star party here. Can you guys see that, the ring nebula there?
Yep.
So this is by Kim Purser. She posted this to the green room, so that's a really, really nice image. Doesn't give any details. All right, 1200 millimeter f4.7, but not really any details about what kind of camera she was using. So, but that is really cool. Nice shot. Ring nebula is always a favorite. Yeah, some post by this Daniel Heron character. Let's see. Here's a nice one by Dylan.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a nice shot. Lots of detail in there. The faint structures.
That's a wide field too.
Yeah. And it's like I was saying earlier, with my telescope, the one I was showing earlier, I wouldn't be able to get this field of view through that.
Me either.
Yeah, and I definitely wouldn't be able to take this one.
That would take me about 4 panels with the Orion, because the field of view is so small.
Yeah, I mean this would probably be about 4.5 to 5 moons. Would take up this image. So it would definitely take quite a few shots. That's a nice image by Brian. That's a nice one though. I kind of like this one that Helen posted, because I do a lot of outreach with kids, and it's always nice when someone else shares that they're doing a little bit of outreach in the community.
Yeah.
Here's a Oversaturated Moon by Andrew Wall to bring out some of the fainter color differentiations on the surface. It's the upside down moon, right side up from Paul's perspective. What are you showing us there, Paul?
A couple of nights ago, I got reports of someone seeing bright meteors in the sky. And after a little bit of investigation, it turned out this is part of a Soyuz upper stage re-entering the atmosphere.
Oh, cool.
Unfortunately, the clouds want to photobomb the image.
Always.
But yeah, this was seen over most of the South Island of New Zealand.
That's cool. There is like another right in the middle, like right on the last frame. I'm trying to make out the constellations, which I'm probably not going to be able to do because it's the southern hemisphere. But it looks like there's something else. You see that little triangle of 3 stars right there in the middle? Yeah. There's another stripe that goes right through there.
Yeah, well, what made people think of this was probably space junk, is that little trail is actually the Dragon capsule. Mm-hmm. So that line is the line of the ISS, and this thing followed the ISS by only minutes.
Okay.
So I thought
All
it's
right,
probably
so
too much of a coincidence, these two objects happening at the same time, so some smarter people than I sort of worked out what it was.
okay, that is cool. So this all sky camera, is this mounted in your on top of your observatory?
This is
Or
mounted on
next?
top of the glass house, actually.
Okay.
It's just one of the cheap ASI camera,
Hmm.
fisheye lens, just records 24/7.
And you just go back and review it whenever you hear that something might have happened.
I make a video every night and just every morning and just have a look and see what's happened. It's basically recording on BMPs all night, and I just use virtual dub just to make a movie and watch it at high speed and see if anything pops up.
That's cool. I wanted to share this too. I saw this earlier this week and wanted to share it. Let me know if you guys can see this whenever it loads. Oh, come on.
I was having the same problems.
Well, while it loads, I'll go. So you're stacking.
Yeah, this is just 3 of them right now.
Okay, that's pretty good. All right, here we go. This thing came back up now. Oh, go away. Ads. I don't need to see any ads. All right, here we go. Again, showing that things in space actually do move.
Wow.
It's the Jupiter rotation that what was his name? Andrew Wall put together. So you can actually see one of the moons moving behind Jupiter as it rotates. It's really cool. And the thing about imaging Jupiter is, Jupiter's a pretty big planet, but it's far enough away that that we can still get some decent images of it, even though it's so far away. The size of it allows us to, but it rotates so fast. So over the course of that red spot, let me see, I can't see the time there. So that's probably almost 2 hours, it looks like, of rotation. So, I mean, it only takes about 4.5 hours or so from the red spot to go from one side of it to the other. So if you're imaging it and you're taking a video of it, and you take a video of usually more than a minute, the features on the planet would have moved just enough to blur in your image if you were stacking the images. So with Jupiter, they have a program that de-rotates Jupiter if you put in the time code sequence of the picture. So it actually will back the picture up a little bit to stack it. So that's one of the issues, that if anyone's out there looking to start imaging planets, when you image Jupiter, you really can't image it for more than a minute or so without getting a little bit of motion blur in it, without using some kind of derotation program. But that is really cool, though, to be able to see that. All right, let's switch back over to Elliot. Looks like you're showing us Bernard's star there.
Yeah, I'm in a club, and it's the Buffalo Astronomical Association, and we head out to the BMO, which is their observatory in North Haven, New York, and they have their observatory out there. And what we did was we took a few stacked images with their C14 of Barnard's star back in 2015, and then went back to it a year later and did the same exact thing, and then I just put it as a GIF image, and you can see how much the star moved in 1 year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is really cool. See a star move.
I don't know.
Here you go, Paul. You ever got anything like this while you're imaging the sun? This is another one on that same site. I was just looking at some of Andrew's shots. Can you see that, Paul?
I
Birds.
can, yeah.
Pesky birds flying in front of the sun.
Ooh.
He's got some really cool shots. All right, Elliot, let's check back in. We're getting close to the end of the hour now, so I just want to check back in with everybody.
Yep. Well, just for here, just still shooting the dumbbell. Later tonight, because I'm going to be out here till about 1:30 Eastern Time, and I'm going to try to see if I can get the Wizard Nebula. I'm waiting for it to get up a little bit higher in the sky, and then I'm going to shoot that in hydrogen alpha, and if I get that, then I will post it on the Global Star Party page on Google.
Okay. Well, we'll keep an eye out for that.
Yep.
All right. Paul, you got anything else you want us to see?
No, I think we're all done here.
Okay. I could try to show you guys this. I don't know how this is going to work because it's a video. But this is, can you guys see that video screen?
Yep.
Okay. So
Yeah.
this is from a little bit earlier this year, but this is the moon moving in front of Venus. And there it goes. So we're talking about seeing things move.
Oh, wow.
So you can just see the moon moving between Earth and Venus. It's about 4 minutes compressed down to about 30 seconds. So that was really
That's
cool
awesome.
to see. Lucky that we got to see that. So you can see things move in space. You just have to know when and where to look. Last night for North America, the moon passed in between. I think it was Lambda Aquarii, or however you say that, and Neptune, and it actually occulted both of them. Or one of them kind of just sideswiped the star, but it occulted Neptune. But it was going to be too cloudy here and too low for me to be able to see with the trees at my house. Had it been clear, I might have ventured out to somewhere where I would have had better horizons and tried to image it, but it didn't work out that way. So such is the nature of the hobby. That's why one good thing about imaging is that if you collect a lot of images, you always have something to do when it's cloudy, and that's process your images. So, okay, well, we'll go around the horn again. I don't have anything else to share. I don't know. Paul said he didn't, and let's just check in with Elliot one last time on the dumbbell.
No, I think I'm pretty good.
See the progress.
Yeah,
He's still working on it.
I mean, I'm up to 20. Yeah, I'm up to 24 minutes now, and we're looking pretty good. We're looking really good for that, and I'll stack that with the darks and the flats and everything, and I'll post that too.
Okay, yeah, we'll look forward to it.
Yeah.
All right, gentlemen. Well, thanks, Paul, and thanks, Elliot, for joining.
Yep.
Again, this is Daniel Herron again, acting as your host. I know that you can look me up on Flickr. Just search for Daniel Herron, and you can find me on Flickr and see some of my images. Feel free to contact me through the Star Party Google Hangout page, or the Google Plus page, I mean. And if you have any questions about anything you heard here or just how to get started, please feel free to ping me and let me know. Probably the same thing for Paul and Elliot as well. If you find them wherever they live on social media, I'm sure we love training our competition. So we're more than happy to help you. I'm only here today knowing what I know because I looked over everyone else's shoulder as they were learning and asked them questions. So feel free to reach out to us, ask us any questions you have. We'll be more than happy to help. So until next time, clear skies, everybody.
See you
Yep.
on later.